these are the questions you guys have submitted. The committee at the back of the commission has selected the questions. They tried to spread it out a little bit because some candidates were getting more questions than the other, but we can't help that. There will definitely be some more for the mayor's example. So we're going to try to go through this. We're going to go till 9:30 with questions. So how many we get done will depend largely on the candidates and you guys as an audience. And then each mayoral candidate will get a 3-minute closing speech. Very quick little promo for MAMA, the Mount Albert Village Association. What are we? We are a group of people who want to make Mount Albert a better place. And we are a small board of directors that meet to try to keep things focused and organized. And we are a bunch of volunteers who give an hour or many days, depending on how much time they have, to organize various activities like this event. We have no money, we have no office, we have no staff. We just have a lot of passion. So if anybody wants to get involved in any way, our annual general meeting is next Wednesday at the library.
In Mount Albert.
In Mount Albert, yes. Funny story, we wanted this meeting to be in Mount Albert very badly, but we could not get any of the spaces in Mount Albert within the 2 weeks of we wanted to have this all-candidate meeting. So we had it here, because at least it's on Mount Albert Road. The first question is from Marlene Johnston. The town has an official plan approved by council. What would you do when a builder comes with a request to change the approved plan and increase housing units?
I would say no.
We're going to get a lot of questions like this. Okay. The questions is for, people could pick up to 3 people. So this question is for Tara Roy de Clemente, Jack Hausman, and Paul Taylor, and we'll answer in that order. What is the most important / valuable resource in East Gwillimbury, and what will you do to enhance and preserve for the long term?
It's people. Our most important resource are the people here. We are what make it special. We are the people that make East Gwillimbury why we all got here. We love this place, and the people here are what make it special. And I'm not really sure what I would do other than to continue to serve on behalf of them and to continue to speak for their best interests.
I hate to sound repetitive, but that's exactly what I was going to say. And what I would do is I would encourage the volunteers that we've had in this community, tremendous people who make our town great. I would continue to support their efforts, all I could, to foster increased volunteerism in this town. It really does make a difference.
Gee, thanks you two, you read my mind. Yes, it is people. People are our greatest asset in the town. What can we do to help encourage and build on that? Keep an open mind to what the residents of the town want, what their concerns are, and respond to them.
Wow, nice short questions. Are you sure you guys are politicians? Next question is for Jamie Young. What have you been doing to contribute to your community in the past 4 years?
Thank you very much. Quite a bit. I was fortunate enough to work with Rogers Television, and I did 2 programs with them, one called Perspectives and one called Civic Central, and I had the opportunity to interview local politicians throughout the entire region. I had the opportunity to talk to community groups, to talk to volunteers, to find out issues that take us to a wide array of things happening in our local communities and also in the communities around us. I also, unfortunately, had to deal with some health issues, and fortunately with a strong family and a good support system, I was able to get that job done too. So that's why I'm back here now. I feel good, and I want to get back to what I know, what I love, and what I think is building a strong future for my family and everybody else that's here. Thank you.
The next question is for Ray Bowie, Joe Persuccini, and John Eaton, and they will be answered in that order. What, if elected, will you do to improve revitalize the downtown section of Mount Albert to stimulate growth and investment?
Hey, well, there's certainly work to be done. Over the years, as we know, Mount Albert has gone through an awful lot of really good different businesses that have tried to open up, and there's actually hasn't been enough buy-in by maybe some of the newer residents. I think that's key before we even start worrying about changing the light bulbs and things, is that we really have to try to connect the new residents with the community. And that comes, that's not an easy thing to do, but it is absolutely doable. So that's the number one key for me, is getting people to volunteer in the community, buy in, shop local, and start there.
Good question. I think it's important to get the people behind us and do research and have partnership with the other business to see what they wanted to have down there and take a studies to agree about to rebuild. We need to get their feedbacks, and then we can get investors to come along with us and hope that by getting the people involvement, we'll do the right thing and to see that we do something like Unionville to rebuild something very. People come from all over because they want to see places like down there. Good job.
Thank you very much. The Minnesota Council, very detailed Mount Albert revitalization plan was put together. Consultants came in, they went into the community, they had sessions within Mount Albert asking for community input. Following those sessions, a report was put together, brought forward to the council, and then it was passed on to our development staff within the town. They have now come forward with a very detailed short-term and long-term plan with regards to the revitalization of downtown Mount Albert. So we have a plan in place. It's somewhat financially dependent upon the funds that would come forward, but there is a very detailed plan there in order for revitalization.
The next question is for Steve Woolridge, Kathy Morton, and Greg McLaren, and they will be answering in that order. Given the number of candidates seeking my vote, what one attribute or skill can you offer to distinguish yourself from your fellow competitors?
I'll try and speak about something different. Obviously, the three people that are asked to speak are all Mount Albert residents, and I've been there going on 15 years, and I've been engaged in the community the whole time. This center here has been like my second home. I spend almost as much time in this arena running the largest men's league and coaching kids before my own kids were playing hockey. I love it here. I love being in this municipality, but specifically in EG. I know we're not supposed to say whether it's Mount Albert, Sharon, whatever, but my single biggest attribute is what I'm bringing as far as my combination of the love of the community with that business acumen that I've been speaking about a little bit too much today, but I need you to know who I am. I only get one chance maybe to speak, so I just want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. My heart is in the right place, and I just want to prove it to you if I'm fortunate enough to get on council. Thank you.
I guess for me, growing up in East Gwillimbury, remaining here all my life and raising my children here who have still lived in East Gwillimbury, is my passion for the community and my passion for the residents that live here and how they get involved with each other and our community as a whole.
in some respects, this is a difficult question to answer. In others, it's pretty straightforward. Just sitting here, I was thinking, well, you know, I have 8 years of post-secondary education. As I mentioned, I have a specialized honors degree in public policy administration. I understand how government works. I've volunteered for many years with the Soccer Association. I love this area. I love seeing my kids play in this area, and it's somewhere I want to stay. But if I had to narrow it down to one thing, it would be integrity. I will serve you with integrity. I do that in my personal life, I do that in my professional life, and I will do that on council.
The next question is for Steve Woolrich. What is a practical plan for affordable rental and condo housing for the poor families in our community? What is a practical plan for affordable rental and condo housing for the poor families in our community?
Okay, I'm going to draw upon experience with my wife now, who's in the audience. She worked several years in Children's Aid Society. She worked 5 years for Kindergarten Family Services, so it was close to home for a lot of time, seeing poor families that were a little bit less fortunate. What you need to do, though, is when we're talking to developers about where to build and what to build, we need to provide those incentives to them to say, this is some of the affordable housing that we need. About a week ago, Monday, we were here where there was a launch of a new initiative by the United Way called In My Neighborhood to bring more social services to East Gwillimbury. So working in conjunction with that type of organization, I think we can make some headway in bringing partners together to say, you know, we do need this in our neighborhood. As we grow, there's going to be more diversity, new Canadians coming in.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
The next question is for Jamie Young and Terroy Di Clemente. They will answer in that order. EG, as part of the York region, is growing in every way. Population, infrastructure, schools, tax base, etc. What specific actions will you take in your role as a leader in EG to ensure each community maintains an identity, village center, and strong village-based social facilities to encourage authentic community such as,
How can they answer me?
such as community centers and pools. Oh, yeah.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, sorry, ring the bell.
If you can't read it, how are they going to answer?
EG as part of the York region is growing in every way: population, infrastructure, schools, tax base, etc. What specific actions will you take in your role as a leader in EG to ensure each community maintains an identity, village center, and strong village-based social facilities to encourage authentic community, such as community centers and pools? I didn't miss you, didn't I?
No, ladies first. Yes. You know, the first thing we need to do, with the amount of growth we have coming in East Gwillimbury and in our region, is stop rewarding the development industry for slamming in subdivisions. We have to create communities. We have created communities. Hundreds of years ago, they created strong communities here, and they're still here today. So I think we need to foster these communities. I think when we see growth come to these communities, it needs to be well planned. And I think it needs to be and include the public that live in those communities to give us feedback on what they need, what we need to get on the ground as it relates to facilities, as it relates to services, and it relates to what the people that are here now think. Thank you.
I think I had 30 seconds to write this stuff down. So
I did.
For me, it's about making sure that we have a complete community when we have individual phases of growth happening. So we, as an existing council, we're the first council to demand the development community provide us with phasing plans. And so what that does is that we hold the line to them and say, you want to build 100 houses, you build 100 houses, and then when you're done, we need to make sure that the community infrastructure is in place before you can continue to build. We have development charters in place, we have architectural control guidelines in place. We are holding the line and will continue to hold the line and tell the development industry that it is not business as usual here in East Gwillimbury. We have stopped them when dust was too high. We have demanded that they build traffic lights on Leslie Street before they even started construction. We have demanded those things of them. Thank you.
The next question are for the two mayoral candidates, and we'll answer in order. Virginia Paxton first and Kathy Morgan second. What is your formal education and credentials to be mayor?
My formal education is I took a community college course in Parks and Recreation, and worked 30 years for the town of East Gwillimbury. Started as a pool rat and opened their first indoor pool, and ended up working on all of the theater, senior center, youth center, and all those parks planning, and ended up doing trail systems as well. I have a degree in an arts degree from the University of Waterloo. I have a teaching degree from York University, and also have a certificate in municipal management from York University as well. And I just think that a lot of life skills are formal education as well. When you live parks and recreation and you work with communities all the time, it's the kind of thing that just becomes a natural thing as you move forward. And supervising staff for a number of years and working with teams is the way to go.
Well, folks, I'm the oldest of 7 kids. So, back when I was going to school, we were really, really glad that we got through high school. Never mind going off to college as much as we would like to have done. My mom never worked outside the home, so my dad was the sole breadwinner. But, you know, I got in the banking industry, and I was there for 31 years. I've served 14 years as your counselor and worked very, very hard in the community. So I do have life experience, and I do have the experience to be able to fill this position.
The next question is for Kathy Morton, Virginia Haxon, and Tara Roy-Clemente, and we'll be answering in that order. How can we sustain our rather rural village atmosphere with the ongoing pressures of development?
Personally, I think that begins with the village itself. Mount Albert is still a rural area. Mount Albert is actually getting some development, but not near as much as what is happening over here. And I, for one, really hate to see the village disappear from any of our communities. But there's no reason why we cannot, within the new growth that's coming, and with the community, that's the small village that's going to surround, to keep that atmosphere. It's a way of life for the residents that are here, and I think if the residents want to keep that small town feel, I think it's up to the residents to really work to achieve that.
I think it starts with policy, quite frankly, although I know the community are part of it, but from a government perspective, I think we need to take a look at Sharon is a prime example. We've turned around and had a look at it. It is a heritage center. It is going to be a village where people can walk. I know that Vince's is planning on growing in size, and a lot of the homes that are along Leslie Street, Sharon, will be receiving, if they request, the ability to hold businesses within, and you've already seen a few of those coming up. The other thing is public spaces for me, and public spaces means everything from an outdoor skating rink, and it could be on a pond, to events like we have at the Civic Center now with music. There's no reason why we can't move our our stage around to a variety of portable stage and move it around to Acre Park one week and to Mount Albert the next week, and communities getting people together. As new people move in, we need to have events that they can come to so they are a part of what's going on.
What makes a rural village atmosphere is the people, and I talked about that earlier, but it's organizations like MAPA that build community, and the people who come together help make sure that that community stays together and continues to retain that character. So local amenities and public spaces that allow people to gather and support local businesses. If you support the local businesses, then you don't have to have a big box retailer moving around the corner from you. So if you keep things small and you manage them through policies with your village core in your official plan, then things can be kept the same way that they need to be. So the other thing that we need to keep in mind also is that we have the green belt and the Oak Ridges Moraine policies that help keep and protect our green spaces, so that while we've identified those things in our official plan, they will stay green, and our rural areas will be respected, and our agriculture areas will be respected as well. Thank you.
The next question is from Marlene Johnson, Steve Woolridge. Sorry, I keep saying Woodbridge, I apologize. And Paul Taylor. What is your number one concern with the upcoming growth in EG?
Well, I really like the last two questions, and I would love to answer those. And they fit, the other two questions fit right into what my biggest concern is. We do have a plan where it will, we hope that we will create the same kind of village that was built 100 years ago as far as the way people are able to relate to their downtown community and to walk into town, pick up what they need. But yet we still see plans coming forward with a block isolated from everything else. And that block means that it signals to me that it would be like a big box or a strip plaza, and that's still a concern to me, and we're still seeing plans coming in. To me, that's the biggest threat to the way this whole thing is going to work in the future, is that we're not going to be creating the villages we had hoped to in our official plan.
As my opening speech indicated, my number one concern is pretty straightforward. There's too much focus, in my opinion, on the infrastructure as it relates to roads, housing, utilities, and I'd like to see a little bit more attention on the social programs. I know of too many stories from young kids that are going to swim in Newmarket to seniors that have to go to Aurora for housing because the waiting lists are too long. So I think we're struggling to meet 22,000 people's needs today. How are we going to meet them when it's 88,000? If you engage a community and the people participate here, that will just make that community much more vibrant. If a kid goes off to play whatever sport you want, pick anything, they meet friends, they meet coaches, they won't come back, they'll stay there, and then we lose that engagement. So we really need to do things to bring them here, and that's my number one concern, is more focus on the social programs.
Thank you. Well, my main concern about the growth is it's too rapid. It's happening too fast. Right now, we have a nice population. We do have social services, and we do have community areas for the people to grow and enjoy themselves. We have to make sure that with all this development, there's an increase in the recreation ideas and plans for the youth and for the seniors to be able to get and walk comfortably up and down the streets to do the shopping locally and make it more of a small town community, which with these developments that we're seeing in Sharon, Hall, Landing, these are what are starting to look like cracker housing developments. We have to have more of a social aspect in it for people to become neighbors and not just residents.
The next question is for Jamie Young. Given your long history as a mayor in EG, how do you feel you will be in the role of councillor, i.e. teamwork?
Well, good news is I had the opportunity to be mayor, but I also got to be councilor first, so I have experience there. I think it'll be a good transition. I think it's something that, as mayor, and I think Kathy, Virginia, and Jack and Marlene can attest to, we were 5 equal partners. I once in a while had to stand up and speak on behalf of the municipality. I went to the region on behalf of the municipality. When it came down to the business of the town, we were 5 equal partners. We made decisions together, and it wasn't one is over the other. And I think from that experience and from conducting myself in that way and with the folks I work with, council will be a very good transition, and I would really look forward and be very appreciative of the opportunity to do it. Thank you.
The next question is for Tara Roy DiClemente, Kathy Morton, and Virginia Haxon. Development in subdivisions. Some established homes in Mount Albert are currently experiencing water pressure and supply issues. Will these issues be addressed before further builds?
Yes.
I agree with Tara. Yes, they will be.
And yes, they will be.
What's that?
That's a quorum.
That's a quorum, yes. Unanimous. The next question is for Ray Bowie and Steve Woolridge. Do you support the growth proposed in the library master plan?
Thanks. Absolutely. I haven't read the entire master plan. I did look over it. Absolutely, we need our libraries, and the library extensions, certainly if we get a new community in Sharon, they're hubs. They're very important places for seniors to be able to learn new skills with programming, and children need to have that lifelong love of books. So absolutely.
I sat through a 1 hour and 9 minute presentation on the EG website. It's a very good one, and it speaks to the plan that the library submitted. And I also wrote Patsy's here, I apologize for the long answers in my assessment of the library plan, but I'll agree with pretty much everything that was put forward. I really think libraries bring that community together. As I said in the first all candidates meeting, I just said they need to remain relevant. I didn't say they weren't relevant. All I said was we need to utilize the space with the reduction of paper, and we bring in more electronic content in the form of ebooks and that. We need to increase other ways of using the library, whether it be internet stations, having social programs, access there, to create a hub, maybe bring in a coffee shop, like a Starbucks type thing, to bring people together, make it more of a community hub, but absolutely relevant in today's world and something that the town needs.
The next question is for Virginia Haxon and Kathy Morton. What are your plans for youth employment in EG?
Well, I think one of the things for youth employment is parks and recreation, and there's a lot of people, I'm sure, in this room put their hand up and they worked at a summer camp or a pool or even as a fitness instructor, etc. And as we start to move forward, I think most particularly about Queensville, the plan that Queensville has a downtown center, and it's planned that way. And part of the plan is that we have a park and we have a facility that's going to house a pool and an arena and a variety of other things. So having students work or youth work for a municipality gives them a huge leg up when it comes to full-time employment. The retail jobs are fine, the serving industry is fine, and we do have some of that now, and I'm sure that will still grow, but it's more important to be looking at recreation programs and that we hire. Of course, we hire several hundred youth already, so as we continue to grow, we'll be using them as well.
Thank you. As Virginia mentioned, the Parks and Rec area is a wonderful way for our youth in this community to start getting experience. I was speaking to a youth last night that's been with this community or this town now for 11 years. She's gone through school, got a university degree, and now she has been employed on a cruise ship. And she is going to be leaving and doing the recreation on that cruise ship, and it all started right here in East Gwillimbury. So we need to be proud that we're able to have our youth do that. But one of the other things about guaranteeing youth employment is the bus runs and the transportation. Because if they can't get to the jobs wherever they are by bus, they won't have those jobs if parents are both working.
The next question is for John Keaton, Tara Roy Clementi, and Greg McLaren. What are your plans to bring and keep small businesses in EG?
Home-based businesses have become more a reality in today's economy because many of the large corporations have either downsized or moved out of the country. As I mentioned earlier, I sit as a director on the Chamber of Commerce, and we've just gone through a strategic plan where we're trying to determine the best method whereby the Chamber can engage the community and also welcome new businesses into the community. That's a very important part of it because one of the key ingredients for growth in the community is going to be fiber internet. And we don't have that yet. It's a big program in the region, and we're working diligently to ensure that we get that so we can develop some kind of innovative hubs, which could be home-based businesses or a little bit larger.
Thank you. We have a tremendous number of home-based businesses already in this community, and that is something that the Chamber of Commerce has really supported and has helped to foster in this community. And I think that continuing to support the Chamber of Commerce in its work would be one of the first steps to do that. The other thing is that we've also looked at policies with respect to agricultural accessory uses, so that while there's a farm, maybe they would be able to, through zoning, have additional uses such as equipment repair or a farm stand or a store that's related to the rural economy. So that's another thing that we can do. And then also to foster the spirit of entrepreneurship within our residents. And as Councillor Eaton or John Eaton mentioned earlier, the fiber high speed is absolutely a must if we're going to create that spirit of innovation and creativity in our community.
Thank you. I think, again, that's another interesting question. There's an old saying that small businesses run the country and the community. I agree with that. I'm a small business owner myself. I think as you see an increase in growth in the area, you're going to see businesses start coming in because, quite frankly, living in Mount Albert, it's been alluded to a few times, a lot of the people don't use the small businesses, but I think as things grow and it becomes more convenient, that will happen. And that's an initiative certainly that can be worked with through the Chamber. But sort of on a different note, I think when we're talking about small businesses, and I agree with the fiber optics and things like that, but we need to have a policy as a council to bring in small business. I was speaking to a small business owner the other day, and they wanted to buy some land in East Gwillimbury, but they were told that until they bought the land, they wouldn't be told if the zoning was accurate for what they wanted. So I think there needs to be sort of get away from that disconnect and look towards helping each other.
The next question is for Kathy Morton, Virginia Haxton, and Jack Hauser. Seniors who have built the community have become the forgotten generations. What are your plans to ensure their well-being?
I wouldn't like to say that they're the lost generation. I think it's important that we do look after our seniors And I know that there is a development right now that's happening, that is going to be happening in Mount Albert, that's going to be for adults. They are going to be called condos, but they're bungalows where seniors can go into and still keep their own space, so to say. But it is important that we try to encourage the developers that come into our land, are here in East Gwillimbury, to make sure that they bring the services that our seniors are going to need. The medical clinics and the special nurses that they need, the nurse practitioners, the doctors. We have to work. Council has to work to help the developers encourage the people to come here so that we can keep our seniors active and viable.
Thank you. I was yesterday at the Hull Land Community Center with a group of seniors, and I think it's really important. Again, the social interaction is so important at seniors' age that more and more we provide facilities and encourage them to move forward and have a lot of events, which we do now, both in Holland Landing and also in Mount Albert. There are a lot of social services at the region of York that we can access, and seniors sometimes just don't know about it, and I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we have workshops sometimes with them, that we actually can do that. A lot of our seniors services that we provide, we advertise through the church bulletins and some of the other doctor's offices and whatever, and I think that's going to be really important. Transportation, same thing again. You can't get to where you're going, that's really important. And even to the city, I think we need to be talking to the GO.
Thank you. Apologize, you're on the roll.
Well, some of us are at the cusp of being there ourselves. But there's no question that one of the benefits of growth will be that we'll have the opportunity to have more localized services in place for seniors. Instead of having to go down to the York Medical Center and Shrigley and Leslie, we'll have that right in our own community. And I think that's why we have to stick to our official plan in building complete communities. Housing, seniors housing, instead of a 35-unit townhouse in Holland Landing on the old school site, how about a low-rise senior center?
The next question is for Greg McLaren and Paul Taylor. What inspired you to run for office? What one issue is your passion? That's really two questions, but okay.
I've always had a passion for politics. I follow it probably to my wife's chagrin. She's probably had enough dug for it on the TV and things like that. But the reality is, I stay engaged knowing what's going on in the community. And about 6 months or 8 months ago, I said to my wife, you know what, I'm not going to complain about what I see or what I don't see. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And the reason for that is I do have a small family, a young family in Mount Albert, and I want them to grow up here and I want them to stay here. And part of that is adding things like a municipal pool. You know, one of the things I brag about is the fact that every Saturday morning, if I want to let them learn how to swim, I have to go to Newmarket. And it's things like that that bother me, because like Virginia, I spent 7 years in rec and culture in Markham, and everything is there, and I'd like to see that here too.
Thank you. Why do I want to be involved? My love for the community. I've been a volunteer in East Gwillimbury for a little over 25 years now. I've seen the community, I've seen ups and downs. I've met a lot of people, and I figured that if I'm going to be here, I want to be involved, I want to be able to have my say, and I want to be able to work for the people of the town. Thank you.
The next question is for John Eaton, Virginia Haxon, and Kathy Morton. With the development in Queensville having access to services, why did the existing council not mandate sewers for the existing residents as a concession from the developers, i.e. Metros?
That's a very interesting question. The majority of the growth that's going to be taking forward, coming into Queensville, will be serviced by the Upper York Sewage Solutions. When I got on the council, that was just a dream at that point in time. As we move forward, an environmental assessment is being done, and that is a regional project that will determine exactly where it's located. As far as hooking up the residents that are in Queensville now, that is something that will be looked at as we move forward in the process. It is a regional project, however.
The sewers that are coming up the second concession were planned many years ago, and the agreement was signed long before this last term of council. The Upper York Sewage Solution, there have been discussions, very brief, about servicing Queensville. It is not going to be a difficult thing. It is York Region, not the developers that are building that one. And in fact, there is an opportunity to negotiate with the region on that. In fact, if there's a desire by the residents, so it's certainly on the table.
I think the question was, why was Queensville not mandated to go on existing residents, Queensville not mandated to go on the sewers? But it does go back for quite a while, and as Virginia and John have both stated, the second concession with the pipe coming up through there was signed many years ago to service certain areas of East Gwillimbury, and just recently, the Upper York, and all the information got sent out to everybody by the region. It is a region project. The one thing, though, is that the province has still not approved the present location of where that water reclamation system is going to go, so that may put things on behind a little bit as well. But if the residents want on them, I'm sure that there is an opportunity that we can work with them to get on them.
The next question is for Kathy Morton. Your promotional ad states you are going to address traffic tie-ups. Do you have a plan to fulfill this statement? Could you share some solutions?
My promotion says that there is gridlock, that the residents are angry that there is gridlock, and I will work with a strong council to come up with solutions to try and solve these issues.
The next question is for Virginia Haxon. What differences do you feel you have made this last term of office as mayor compared to other mayors?
Do I get a response?
I think for me, the most important thing that has changed in East Gwillimbury is the fact that we found many partnerships. We're in a community that can't afford as many things as we would like our residents to have, and so we were able to get a hold of a lot of partnerships and make it happen. York Regional Police, Neighborhood Network, York Region District School Board, and it's probably the most advantageous one for us in that we built 6,000 square feet on a school. We took advantage of the infrastructure. We now have a community center built onto a school where nights, weekends, summer holidays, Christmas, there's camps and kids are there at nights and weekends. People in the community go out and play volleyball, basketball, and it was a partnership with York Region District School Board, something we should be looking at, and every time we're ready to build a facility, we should be building it in partnership with someone else to take full advantage of their infrastructure.
The next question is for Ray Bowie, John Eaton, and Joe Persuccini. For future development, will there be any investigation into what habitats are being destroyed to accommodate this growth?
Well, I certainly hope so. I actually participated in, well, even the 404 review when that study was done. And there was a lot of work done on the environmental side. I guess what we are protected with is, as it's been mentioned before, are 3 pieces of legislation that are provincial. And those actually come up for review next year. It's the Oak Ridges Marine Protection Act and the Greenbelt Act. And as a community, I think one of the most important things that we're going to need to do is to be very involved during that process to be sure that nothing changes as far as those boundaries go. Plans have been made, promises have been made to developers. I think we have an opportunity to make sure we get the very best we can out of that for everyone that already lives in the community with all of the things we've already discussed. But it's provincial legislation we have to be very careful about, and we can get involved, and as a community we better. So that's how I feel about that.
The environmental process has been put into place in order to protect sensitive areas. I know within the Sharon area, one of the biggest challenges that was put forth for the developers was to leave a substantial amount of green space with regards to trees. There were natural creeks that were running through there, and they had to spend a substantial amount of money ensuring that these things are not destroyed. We have an excellent park system, and the Trails Committee is very active, and we have a master plan. The Trails Committee is very active in ensuring that we still have green space, that everything isn't just plowed under, and that we have places to walk and enjoy ourselves.
I think if we keep the 70% green spaces that we are committed to, we're not going to have as much problem. But I'm very surprised when I see trees cut along the 4 and which was protected the barrier, the noises. And I don't see why we cut out those trees and protect the environment. I think we've got to stick to the plan and do everything we can to have parks and recreational things that we can benefit and not cut down trees for the environment. Thank you.
It is now just after 9:30, and we promised we would not go much past that. So we haven't even touched half the questions you guys have asked, so I apologize if your question did not come up. But I'm sure all of the candidates will be more than happy to answer direct questions if you want to contact them later, and I'm sure some will be staying afterwards as well if you want to talk to them. So we're now going to go to the closing comments from the 2 mayoral candidates, and I will go into my cup of randomness to decide who will speak first. Virginia Haxon will go first. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm going to veer slightly from my speech before I take on my paperwork. Earlier in the evening, there was some innuendos about where I live in the development land, and I want to straighten that out. There's no secret. I live on the 2nd concession. I've lived there for 33 years. I've raised my family there, and I still live there. Is it going to be developed? I don't know. Is it going to be today or tomorrow? No, it's not. Is it going to be in the future? Only if I sell. I love where I live. It's the only home I've lived in East Gwillimbury, and I fully intend on staying there. I still have a deer with her fawn at my back door, and I'm going to be sure that it's going to stay there. I just wanted to straighten that out. I've been your mayor for the past 4 years. Years of tremendous accomplishments, exciting new partnerships, strong financial stability, new ways of communicating with residents, and yes, we've had some tragedies that's brought us all closer together. As a community that has been named by the province as a premier growth center, we have challenges facing us in the next 4 years. Most people are not angry about them. They simply want to know that they are being managed properly by proven, strong, and experienced leadership. First, the growth. We're phasing it in to ensure not all development happens at once. You may look out there now and see that there's fields that are all dug up all at the same time. They're putting infrastructure in. When it comes to the houses, it will be about 90 houses in each community for the next 5 years. Managing growth, right, means building roads for new homes to be built. We're doing that by working with developers in the region to get the investments we need. We're planning an east-west collector road parallel with Green Lane. Second concession is being widened, and the north-south collector road will soon be constructed. Highway 404 has been extended north to Ravenshoe, easing our traffic on our local roads almost immediately. We respect the needs of our current residents, support and celebrate our agriculture community, and we are committed to protecting 70% of the town in green space. And we will ensure there's a local job for every 2 East Gwillimbury residents. Good start today on that. Second is finances. Under my leadership, the town has never been in better shape. Tax rates increase are below the provincial rate of inflation, and we are now debt-free. We've done this while hiring firefighters, refurbishing the sports complex, building new parks and trails, and maintaining quality services for residents. We've increased reserves by $2 million, and I said, created 800 local jobs, but it's now 13. I'm going to flip, I'm getting it. As East Gwillimbury grows, we'll maintain our strong sense of community by continuing to make people feel on October 27th, please vote Paxson. Thank you.
Listening to my learned colleagues go on and on about professionalism and experience remind me of an equation, and that's the 3 C's plus R equals success, which I will explain later. This wonderful and yes, this great community of East Gwillimbury was built on the backs of farmers and ordinary residents, people who worked together to create what they saw was their future, their vision, so to speak. In the town offices many years ago, I saw former Mayor Angus Morton come in wearing coveralls and rubber boots, just an ordinary farmer, whose vision, I am sure, did not include the traffic gridlock, out-of-control growth, not the approved phased-in growth, but the uncontrolled growth that residents are angry about. And oh yes, let's not forget the sleepless nights here in Sharon. But you've probably not heard about any problems. Well, I'm alerting you now. But maybe you did hear about the $1 million over budget on the arena project. And maybe you did hear about the developers breaching environmental rules. What about the extra 1,000 homes being built in Sharon as a result of a special deal for sewage capacity? And what about the widening of the Dome Road and the on-ramp that were canceled from the region budget, which was discovered 3 months later by staff and then told to council? Was the mayor absent the day that that vote was taken? The job of mayor is to lead and guide council, to steer the town forward on a precise course. I am running for mayor because we are off course. I am running for mayor because absolutely no effort has been put into building a team. I am running for mayor because development is out of control and residents do believe that the developers are running this town. I am running for mayor because integrity and respect for one's fellow workers and employees must be restored. The bullying and harassment must stop. I will treat them with dignity, not attack them on issues that defy their human rights. I am running for mayor because the job is not about 622 photo ops and ribbon cuttings. I offer an opportunity to get us back on track. I will work to build a strong, united team, your team, folks. I do not own the land that will benefit from decisions on servicing, so I will be able to vote on the really big issues of the region. But most important, I am a real person, not a fancy professional, but a farmer's daughter. a person who was born and raised here, and a person with a true passion for our community. And oh yes, the 3 C's plus R equals success. Communication, cooperation, consideration, and respect equals success. Morton for mayor on the 27th of October.
That concludes our program for this evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being respectful of all these candidates. And thank you to all the candidates for all your time and your energy you put into it. Have a good evening.